How do you paint joy? Not a smiling face or a pretty landscape, but that deeper feeling of sunlight on your skin, a blue sky after rain, a friend sitting across from you at the kitchen table. For more than 6 decades, one artist kept returning to that question in pools and portraits, countries, boards, and iPad screens. His name was David Hockney, and when he passed away in 2026, the art world did something simple. It looked back at his pictures and remembered how intentionally alive they felt. Hello everyone, I am Akanksha. Welcome back to Flashback Fridays Season 2 presented by Art with Abir. So today on Flashback Friday we are traveling not to one city but across an entire lifetime of images as the world remembers David Hockney. Born in 1937 in Bradford, an industrial area in the north of England, a place of grey skies, chimneys and working class life. He studied at the local art school in Bradford, learning very traditional skills like life drawing, close observations, and careful paintings of people and objects. After that, he went to the Royal College of Art in London in 1959, joining a generation that would define British pop art in the 1960s. At first, his work mixed everyday objects and text, tea packets, handwritten lines, references to poetry with a loose experimental style. Early on, he was already playing between the serious and the playful, the classical and the contemporary. But the David Hockney that most of the world remembers does not stand in grey Yorkshire street. He stands by a bright blue swimming pool. The light, the space, the modern houses, the turquoise pools, all it felt new and underpainted, compared to the old art histories of Europe. He moved there in 1966. Soon he began painting what would become his most famous images: flat, sunlit pose, clean modernist villas, friends and lovers posed in calm, almost cinematic scenes. Work like a bigger splash turned a simple movement. Water exploding after a dive into an icon of cool, laid-back West Coast life. These paintings look simple at first glance, big areas of color, sharp edges, few details. But they are carefully constructed, a mix of minimalism, pop, and traditional painting, all in a language anyone can instantly understand. So what did Hockney actually paint? Again and again for 70 years. People, places, and the act of looking at itself. He painted intimate portraits of friends, family, and lovers. Often as double portraits, two people in a room, their relationship captured in the distance between chairs, the angle of a shoulder, and the direction of the gaze. He loved everyday scenes: parents sitting on a sofa, a man in a striped shirt, a friend at the edge of a pool. In the 1980s, this led to his famous joiners, photo collages made from yards of Polaroids or prints where each image shows a slightly different angle or moment. Many artists find one style and stick with it. Hockney did the opposite. Across 7 decades, he moved through paintings, drawings, printmaking, photography, stage design, stained glass, and finally digital tools like tablets and phones. He designed vibrant sets and costumes for opera and ballet in Europe and the US, treating the stage as a giant painting through which singers walk. He experimented with fax machines and photocopiers. Later, he embraced the iPad and iPhone with excitement, making a series of digital drawings, quick portraits, flowers, and landscapes made with his finger and a stylus, then printed or shown on glowing screens. What stayed constant was his curiosity. He once argued that new tools were now enemies of painting. They were invitations to see differently. His digital works are not gimmicks. They extended his lifelong question: how can an image capture the feeling of being there, in that light, in that moment? By the time of his death at 88, David Hockney was often called one of the Britain's greatest modern artists, figure whose work stretched from post-war Britain to the age of the touchscreen. But if you strip away the labels and headlines, what remains? For many people, Hockney's art is memorable because it is both sophisticated and accessible. You do not need to know theory to feel the warmth of his colors, the stillness of his rooms, the pleasure of his pools. He also helped expand what paintings could be, pushing landscapes into huge, multi-panel works, rethinking perspective, bringing queer desire, everyday domesticity, and modern architecture into a bright, unapologetic visual language. Even his personal style, blonde hair, bright round glasses, brightly colored suits, became part of his presence in culture, a living embodiment of the cheerful intensity in his pictures. In 2025, a massive retrospective in Paris gathered work from across his career, underlining how restlessly inventive he had been. When he died a year later, tributes described him as a genius in practically every medium and a pleasure giver, someone who took the ordinary and made it feel luminous. So if you are meeting David Hockney for the first time today, you don't need to remember every date and movement. Remember the boy from a grey industrial town who spent his life chasing color. Remember the pools in Los Angeles, the roads in Yorkshire, the faces of friends. Remember an artist who never stopped asking how to look more closely at the world and how to keep joy in the picture. The world remembers David Hockney not just because he was influential or famous or collected. It remembers him because in paintings after paintings, he made seeing feel like a celebration. This was Flashback Friday with Art with Habir. See you next week where another artwork from the past might just explain your present.